Sometimes I talk with women and they will tell me, Joyce, I don't have a dream. I've never had dreams, or the dreams that I have seem so unimportant. And what I usually tell them is what I'm going to tell you today. I believe that each one of us have been given unique dreams by God. I believe that God is the ultimate dream maker and the ultimate dream giver. And today we're going to explore how to uncover those dreams and nurture them into reality. Hello and welcome to Morning Coffee with Joyce. I'm Joyce Abrils of HerRichLife.com, and I host this show to give you the tools you need to live a purpose-aligned life. Now, I think dreams, the topic of dreams, is a really important one. And sometimes it just seems so big. You may have a dream that seems like, how in the world am I going to make this happen? Did the Lord really give me this? Is this really what he wants me to do? Well, we're going to explore some of those things. And before we dive into the step-by-step framework I have to help you make your dream into reality, I want to give you 4 points to sort of set the stage, if you will, before we get into that. So point number 1 is acknowledging God's plan. Before you can even start to take action on bringing your dreams to life, it's essential, it's important that you acknowledge that God has a plan for your life. So even before we get to the whole dreams part, you have to understand, you have to come in agreement with God that he has a plan for your life. And he's the ultimate dream giver. And those dreams that you have in your heart, God has placed them there. And all of it is a plan for your life. The dreams that you have are a plan for you to live your purpose, your calling, and your assignment. In Jeremiah 29:11, the Bible assures us that God has plans for you. And he says that they're plans for your welfare, not for evil, to give you a hope and a future. This means that you have a purpose, a calling, and an assignment, which are all part of God's divine plan for your life. And your dream was designed by the creator of the universe. He's the one who placed it in you. Think about Esther from the Bible and the story of Esther, which I know we love. But Esther probably saw herself as this ordinary young woman, but God had a grand purpose for her that she was unaware of, and she was supposed to save her people. And it was her courage and her faith in God's plan that led her to fulfill this dream that she probably didn't even know she had. But God had a plan for her, and he used her. All he wants is for you to be willing to come into alignment with him and his will so that his plan for your life can come to fruition. Point 2 is embracing God's timing. Embracing God's timing is crucial. It's a major step in unleashing your dreams, the divine dreams given to you by God. And we talked a little bit about God's timing last week. We're not on God's timetable. We're on, he's not on ours. We're on his. He's not on our timetable. Too many people give up on their dreams because they feel like it's taking too long. But Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us that there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. Understand that your dreams have a divine timetable that's orchestrated by God. And if he gave you a dream and it has not come to pass yet, don't give up. Don't give up on God and don't give up on your dream. Patience and trust in his timing can lead to unexpected blessings and opportunities. One of my favorite Bible stories is the story of Joseph. I talk about Joseph all the time. Despite being sold into slavery and being put in prison, Joseph never lost his faith in God's plan for his life. Do you remember what Joseph's brothers called him when they saw him coming before they put him in that cistern or put him in that well? They said, "Here comes the dreamer," because Joseph had big dreams and God placed those dreams there in his heart. He showed him what was to come in his life. In the right time, he was elevated to a position of power and influence, fulfilling the dream that God had given him and had placed in his heart. Joseph's story teaches us the power of patience and trust in God's perfect timing. Our third point is overcoming self-doubt. it's natural to doubt yourself sometimes. It's natural to doubt your dreams sometimes. It's natural to doubt God's plans for you sometimes. You might be thinking, well, maybe I didn't hear God right. Maybe that's not what he said, or maybe it's too late, or have you said maybe this was supposed to be for someone else? However, Philippians 4:13 reminds us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So you have to believe that God has equipped you to live the dreams he plants in your heart. I mean, it would make no sense for him to give you a dream and not give you the ability to make that dream come to life. But you have to trust in his strength and not yours. If God gave you a dream, you heard him right. It's not too late, and it's definitely your dream. Consider the life of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Can you imagine how frightened she was, pregnant, engaged, not knowing exactly how this happened or why it happened, but all of that fear and all of that uncertainty changed because she didn't give in to it. She embraced her role in God's plan, and he had a divine plan for her, filled with grace and filled with faith. And so her humility and her obedience changed the course of history. And we have to think about our dreams that way too. Place our faith and our trust in God and trust him to help us bring those dreams to reality. We don't have to do this on our own. So those moments of self-doubt, when they come, remind yourself that you don't have to do this thing by yourself. You place your trust and faith in God. And then that fourth tip or point is that taking practical steps. While faith is crucial, taking practical steps is equally important, because you can sit there and have all the faith in the world, but if you don't do something based on that faith, then the dream that God placed in your heart won't come to life. Proverbs 16:3 says to commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. So you pray, you plan, you set goals, and then you take action steps towards your dream. And that is what we're going to talk about now. As I said at the beginning, I just wanted to lay that foundation because I have a step-by-step strategy that will help you get into action of bringing your dreams into fruition. And so this framework uses the phrase dream big. And the first letter each letter of that phrase is a step in this framework. And so let's start with the D, and D is divide and conquer. And you may have heard somebody say or ask this question: how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is, of course, one bite at a time. How do you begin a long journey? Well, the answer is one step at a time. And dividing a dream, your dream, into a series of steps or a series of tasks can make it easier to make something happen that seems unreachable or reachable. Because think about it. If you have a dream, for instance, of writing a 200-page book, if you sit down and you turn on your computer and you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to write this 200-page book, that can be overwhelming. But what if you said, okay, I have 200 pages I want to write to have my book completed. What if I write just 10 pages each day? In 20 days, you'll have your 200 pages. Or how about someone who wants to lose 100 pounds? That can sound overwhelming, especially when you've been in a place where you've tried to lose that weight before and it just didn't happen. So instead of saying, well, 100 pounds, what not think about it is, well, maybe 2 to 5 pounds this month. If I could lose 2 to 5 pounds each month, that's a lot more manageable. And it's a goal that you can see yourself reaching. And so that's what it means when I say to divide and conquer. So, create a daily plan where you take specific, simple, measurable action steps every day toward achieving your dream. Crystallize your daily plan by writing it down. I have several calendars I use on a daily basis, and one of them is a day-by-day calendar. And every day I write down the things I need to get done, the top 3 things I need to do that day. And I write down the steps under those 3 things that I need to accomplish. And so you can create a plan like that. Or if you are more of a right-brained person and you don't like writing in words, you can use images, you can use pictures, create a vision board. You can put it on your phone. You can put it on Pinterest by creating a digital one. You can go to Canvas and create a vision board, but do something that will show the steps that you're working towards and what you need to do each day to reach that dream and make that dream come true. And so the next letter is R, and R is redefine failure and success. So don't define yourself or limit yourself by viewing success and failure as a simple, narrow path. Because the truth is, when you follow your unique path, you can define success any way that you like. And as always, I talk about redefining or recasting failure because there are lessons that can be learned when we fail. When we fall down from something or we fail at something, instead of saying, oh no, I failed, or oh no, I fell down, what we should be saying is, what can I learn from this? What has this taught me? Look for that lesson, because your failures can be a stepping stone to success. Here's an example of what I mean. I'm studying 1 Samuel right now in our women's Bible study. We're getting ready to start chapter 16, which is when we're introduced to David. When you look at the life of David, he wasn't a perfect man. He was far from it. He was an adulterer, he was a murderer, and he was a passive parent. But God said he was a man after his own heart. To the average person, if you look at David's life, he looks like a major failure. But God doesn't look at the outside. He looks at the heart. And when he looked at David's heart, he saw a successful man. And it's the same way when he looks at us. What may look like a failure to us, if we obeyed God, if we aligned our will with him, if we partnered with him and we tried something and it didn't work out, that's not failure. That's success in his eyes, because he looks at the heart. And here's another example. You may have seen this quote. It's been, running around the internet for years. But Thomas Edison was being interviewed about creating the light bulb. And when he was asked about his failures when he was creating the light bulb, he corrected the reporter and he said, oh no, I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. And so sometimes, no matter how well you plan, prepare, you're going to have a setback. You're going to have a roadblock. Things aren't going to go the way that you thought. But the thing here is, when that happens, the best thing that you can do, like I said, is ask yourself, what can I learn from this and how will it help me reach my dream? Then you keep moving forward. All right, next comes E. Remember, we're spelling dream big, so we're on the E. Embrace risk. Now, when I say embrace risk, I don't mean to go out there and just, all willy-nilly take any risk, throwing caution to the wind and just going for, that's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes making a dream come true does require a leap of faith, but people don't want to do that, and here's why. There are 5 reasons people avoid risk. Number 1 is failure. They think I might not get what I'm aiming for. Number 2 is exposure. If things don't work out right, they don't want people to look at them badly. Number 3 is embarrassment. Sometimes they'll say, if I push for something and it doesn't work out, I could be judged by others and I don't want to be embarrassed. Number 4 is rejection. If the risk fails, they think that they could be rejected by other people. And then number 5 is loss. If I try something different, I might have to give up what's familiar. And embracing risk does mean stepping out of the familiar. It means getting out of your comfort zone. And here are 3 things I want you to remember about taking risks and taking chances. The number 1 thing that separates people who achieve their dreams from people who don't is their ability to make up their minds to do whatever they need to do, even if it means doing it scared. The second thing is that it's easy to play it safe, but playing safe doesn't get you very far. You stay in your comfort zone, and staying in the comfort zone always leads to just remaining in the status quo. And number 3, nothing happens until you believe that you have to go after what you believe in. You have to take a step. You have to take that first step. And you do that. We're women of faith. And we believe that God guides us, that the Holy Spirit lives in us, and that Jesus intercedes for us on our behalf with the Father. And so we have to take every resource at our disposal and take that risk or take that chance and step out. Because when you take action going after what you really want, that's when you're able to overcome fear. So if a rare opportunity, presents itself, you look at that opportunity. And if the cost in dollars, in time, emotional and physical energy is one that you're willing to take, then go ahead and take the risk. Don't let the odds deter you. You have to see yourself being successful. All right. A, admit who you are. Georgette, I see that you're on this morning. You probably already said good morning. And my comments, again, sometimes they come up, sometimes they don't. I don't know why that's so, but you usually say good morning, so I wanted to say good morning to you. It's not that I'm ignoring you. My comments just aren't coming up. All right. A, admit who you are. Stop thinking of yourself as a wannabe. For example, I want to be a writer. Listen, if you're writing, you're a writer. You're doing the thing. You're doing it. Begin telling yourself and others that you are who you are, and listen to what you're saying, because there's power in your words. Here are some examples. If you're writing a book, you're an author, whether that book is published or not. If you wrote a book, you're an author. If you have a side hustle that you're turning into a business, you're a business owner. And if you're going to jail and preaching and praying for inmates and interceding on their behalf, you're the founder of a prison ministry. God would not have put a dream in your heart if he had not given you what you need to fulfill it. So once you start thinking of yourself as the person you want to be, it becomes easier to do the things that you want to do. So stop thinking of yourself as a wannabe and start thinking of yourself as who you are. That's the power of affirmations. When we use affirmations, we speak in the present and we speak positively about ourselves. Affirmations like, I walk in faith because I am a child of God. I am loved unconditionally. I am successful in the way that I define success. Well, it's the same thing when you admit who you are. I am a coach. I help women create lives that are aligned with their purpose, their calling, and their assignment. I am a speaker. I am a writer. All of these things, when you admit who you are, it makes a difference in making your dreams come true. So stop calling yourself a wannabe and start calling yourself I am. Proverbs 23:7 says, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Then M, mixed with cheerleaders. Now, we all know people who bring doom and gloom wherever they go. They have negative attitudes. They're always complaining. They're always down. They're always sad. Trust me on this. These are not the people you want to share your hopes and your dreams with. To survive and thrive, our dreams need TLC. Find people who will cheer you on. Sometimes friends and family members aren't as supportive of your dreams as you would like them to be. And I don't think they necessarily mean to be helpful. They just don't understand your calling the way that you do. And think about this. When God spoke to you, when he gave you that dream, when he told you what your calling was, this was not a group call. This was a one-on-one with you and him. Your family, your friends, they weren't there. So remember that. Many of my friends are attorneys and judges. They don't understand this whole entrepreneur thing. They don't understand what it means to be a life coach. What do you mean you teach people how to find their purpose? It's like, yeah, that's what I do. Well, you can't do that yes, that's what I do. But so these are not the people I go to when I have, when the Lord tells me, okay, Joyce, I want you to do A, B, or C, and that becomes a dream for me. Those are not the people I go to. But my youngest brother and my mom have always been two of the most supportive people in my life, two of my biggest fans. I remember when I told them that I was retiring from the bench, I was no longer going to be a judge. And their words to me was, I'm so glad to hear you say that. They knew how unhappy I was, and they knew that God had something bigger for me, more important to me. And much more important for me to do. And so they were the ones, as I started out on my journey, first with my women's ministry online, that I would tell about, well, this is what I'm going to try next. This is what I'm doing. This is what I believe the Lord would say, so that they could cheer me on, so that they could pray for me, so that they could, encourage me. And so it's important to find people like that, because everybody does not deserve a front row seat in your life. Everyone is not worthy of your time. Everyone isn't ordained to be in your space, and everyone can't be your confidant or your shoulder to lean on. And remember this, most important of all, everyone is not a destiny connection for you. So be careful of who you share your dreams with, your hopes, and the things that you want to accomplish in your life. Try to surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you and support you as you go towards your dream. All right. So that completes dream. Now let's move on to the big part of dream big. And we're going to start with B, which is bond with a mentor. Do you know someone who has achieved the dream that you are pursuing? Chances are he or she might not mind sharing their secrets to success with you. And here's an example from the Bible. 1 Kings 19 through 21. I'm going to read these three verses because it shows the establishing of the relationship between Elijah and Elisha. So Elijah went and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, plowing a field. There were 12 teams of oxen in the field, and Elisha was plowing with the 12th team. Elijah went over to him and threw his cloak across his shoulders and then walked away. Elisha left the oxen standing there, ran after Elijah, and said to him, "First, let me go and kiss my father and mother goodbye, and then I will go with you." Elijah replied, "Go on back, but think about what I have done to you." So Elisha returned to his oxen and slaughtered them. He used the wood from the plow to build a fire to roast their flesh. He passed around the meat to the townspeople, and they all ate. Then he went with Elijah as his assistant. It didn't take long after I started my business to realize very quickly that I need help, that I didn't know what I was doing. And this goes back to when I had my online ministry. It goes back to when I was actively working in my nonprofit for middle school girls, and certainly carried over once I started my business. Sometimes when you embark on a project or a dream, or you're pursuing a dream, you don't know what you don't know. There are some things that are very obvious to you, but then there are other things that you haven't even thought of because you don't know that you need to think about them. And so that led me to hiring coaches over the years, and I've always hired coaches. Right now, I'm in several coaching programs because of the projects I'm working on. I have a planner coming out in 2025. I have a coach to help me with that. I also am getting ready to run some Facebook ads. I have a coach that helps me with that. There are a couple of other things that I'm doing, and I have coaches who help me with all of those things. And so it's very important to get help from people. You need mentors, you need coaches, you need counselors. Sometimes you just have to spend some money and invest in yourself, and you are your biggest investment. So money that you invest in yourself is never a waste. So never despair about spending money on a class or a course or books or whatever, because that's an investment that's going to last and it's going to give you dividends for the rest of your life. So pray, ask God who to contact, then make that call, sign up for that class, buy that book. Okay, inspire yourself with can-do stories. Don't you love stories where somebody beats the odds to make a dream come true? The story of Ruth is one of those. And Ruth and Naomi were in a hopeless situation. They had no men to take care of them. So they ended up going back to Naomi's home. And as they got there, God had orchestrated things such that Ruth and her mother-in-law, Naomi, they were more blessed than they could have ever imagined. And it's important to fill your mind with positive stories like that, and with positive thoughts and positive information. Look for your own can-do stories. You can find them in movies and newspaper articles, magazine articles, biographies, autobiographies, and even your friends and family makers. And don't forget your own can-do stories. Think about those goals that you've reached and the successes that you've had. I have a file in my email in my email inbox, and it's called Inspiration, Encouragement, and Motivation. And anytime I read something in an email or on the internet, I take it and I put it in that file on those days when I need, a pick-me-up, or I need to be reminded that, yes, I can do this, or I can keep going, or I can keep moving on. So it's important to do those kinds of things. for yourself. G, give yourself a picture to follow. You know, one of the best things you can do to support your dreams and goals is to create a visual display of them, something you can look at and something you can touch or something you can read. For example, a vision board is a great way to do this. You know, you can make a physical vision board, if you will, and get a poster board from the Dollar Tree, cut out some pictures and some phrases and words from some magazines and put them on your board, or, you know, download some pictures from the internet, print them, cut them out, and put them on your board. Or you can make a digital one. As I said earlier, you can use Pinterest or Canva and set it as your screensaver or set it as your desktop background. All of these kinds of things so that you see it all the time. I have a vision book. And so instead, I also have a vision board, but my vision board only has 3 things on it. And it's a cork board that I have 3 pictures on. And when I look over, I see it every day. It's got my word for the year, which is up level. And it's got those 3 pictures of 3 things that I am believing the Lord for. And so that's, I see every day. But I also have my vision book. And in my vision book, I have daily affirmations that I say every day. I also have pictures and images of things that I want, that I'm praying about, that I'm asking the Lord to bless me with, so that when I flip through that book, I can see those things. And my book I can take with me anywhere. My vision board I have to leave here, but my book I can always have with me if I want. If I go to Starbucks, I can take it there with me as I'm working on whatever I'm working on. If I go out of town, I can take it with me and I still have it. And so that's why I chose to do a vision book. But however you want to do it, just do something and get those pictures in front of you. All right. So when you give yourself a picture to follow, you create a blueprint that you can use as you continue working toward your dream. And as I said earlier, each of these steps spell out dream big. And we serve a big God, and he wants you to dream big. Big dreams are God-sized dreams, and he delights in helping you make your dreams come true. Because when he does that, he gets the glory. We give him the glory because we know that these dreams that we have, we could not do it without God. And not only that, but you get to help someone else, because most of the time when you have a big dream, when you have a God-sized dream, it is in service of glorifying him and serving other people. So don't downsize your dreams. Here's a story of what can happen when your dream isn't big enough or you give up on your dream too soon. In 1930, 2 young brothers moved from New Hampshire to California to pursue their dream of being successful business owners. After trying a few failed businesses, they struck gold when they opened a small drive-in restaurant. By the mid-1950s, their annual revenue was $350,000, and the brothers were able to split $100,000 in profits. Now remember, this is the 1950s. $100,000 in profit that they could split was probably over $1 million at that time. Then in 1954, a man entered the picture. He saw the potential in that business that the brothers didn't see. In 1961, that man, Ray Kroc, bought the exclusive rights to McDonald's for $2 million, which is probably more money than those brothers would have ever thought they'd ever see. But today, there are more than 38,000 McDonald's restaurants worldwide with revenue over $24 billion and over 1.7 million employees worldwide. That's their 2022 figures. And so there's some lessons we can learn from this McDonald's story. Don't pull up short of your God-given dream. Don't stop too soon. Don't allow someone else to outdream you. You know, these brothers had a gold mine and they didn't see it. But Ray Kroc saw it. He saw what they had and he knew what he could build it to be. He had a bigger dream than those brothers, the McDonald brothers, did. Don't allow anyone else to finish your dream. This was the thing that was supposed to happen. McDonald's was supposed to grow into this multinational, worldwide, gigantic business. But the brothers couldn't finish that because they couldn't see it. But Ray Kroc saw it. So don't let anyone else finish your dream. Never allow fear, the fear of growing too big, the fear of moving out of the status quo, cheat you out of God's dream for your life. Because you need to remember that your dreams matter. And they are an intricately woven part of God's divine plan for your life. So embrace your uniqueness, trust in his guidance, and then take those bold steps that I shared with you. Never forget that your dreams are valid and that God's purpose for your life is profound. Embrace it with faith and watch how he transforms your dreams into a beautiful reality. And that, my friends, is how you unleash your divine dreams. Because God gave you those dreams, and that's what makes them the divine. And he will give you a way to make them come to reality. And so don't give up too soon. So thank you for joining me today, live and on the replay. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Same place, same time. Bye.